Grief. It's something we've all felt, or, well, something we all will feel. It's just a fundamental part of being human, right? But for something so universal, why is it so often wrapped up in myths and these really confusing expectations? Today, we're going to try and cut through all that noise and explore what it really means to navigate loss. So let's just dive right in with the big one. Is there a right way to grieve? Is there some kind of schedule you're supposed to follow, a set of rules? I bet you've probably heard that there is. But what if? What if that whole cultural script we have for grief has it all wrong? Okay, to really get to the heart of this, we have to talk about the most famous model of all, the 5 stages of grief. I mean, you know them, you've heard them a million times, but do you really understand where they came from and what they were actually supposed to mean?
And here they are, the famous 5: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. This whole framework, which comes from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, has become this cultural shorthand for grief. Seriously, we see it everywhere, like it's some kind of official roadmap for one of the toughest journeys in life.
But let's be real for a second. When does life ever follow a neat little checklist? I mean, when you're in the middle of that raw, messy reality of loss, does it really feel like you're just ticking off boxes? Yeah, didn't think so. The truth is, grief is so much more complex than some simple 5-step plan. And here is the absolute crucial piece of context that almost everyone misses. Kubler-Ross wasn't even studying people grieving a loved one. Nope. She was observing terminally ill patients who were facing their own death. Her stages were only meant to describe what she saw, not to prescribe a path for everyone else. Grief isn't a straight line. It's more like a tangled, unpredictable mess of a journey. So if grief isn't this single, straight path, then what is it? Well, the reality is that grief wears a lot of different faces. So let's explore some of them.
This definition right here is key. I want you to notice that it includes the loss of a valued someone or something. And that is so, so important. Why? Because it reminds us that grief isn't just about death. It can be about a divorce, losing a job, a lost home. Honestly, any significant loss can trigger this incredibly powerful emotional response.
Okay, this slide highlights a really important distinction. See, for most of us, grief, while it's intensely painful, it does eventually soften a bit. We find a way to move forward. But for some people, that pain stays incredibly sharp and just debilitating for months, sometimes even years, making it almost impossible to get back to daily life. That's what's known as complicated grief, and it's a huge sign that someone might need some extra support. Now let's talk about a type of grief that's often completely invisible. It's called disenfranchised grief, and it's basically the pain you're told you're not supposed to feel. It's a loss that society tells you to hide, to just keep to yourself. And just think about it for a second. The grief you feel over a beloved pet, and someone dismisses it as just an animal. Or the secret, hidden pain of a relationship no one knew about. The shame and the silence that can surround a loss to suicide. When your grief isn't validated, that loneliness can be absolutely overwhelming. And what happens when the losses just keep coming, one after another? That's called cumulative grief, or sometimes bereavement overload. It's that feeling of being hit by wave after wave of loss, with absolutely no time to catch your breath. It's just a state of pure emotional exhaustion and overwhelm. All right, so if the 5 stages are basically an outdated, unhelpful map, what are the new guides for navigating loss? Let's switch gears and explore some more modern and, frankly, more active ways of understanding the grieving process. I really love this model from William Worden because it's so empowering. It completely reframes grief as something you do, not just something that happens to you. It's all about taking an active role in your own healing, and that can give you a real sense of control in a situation that feels so out of control. Okay, this next idea might surprise you. It might even feel a little bit controversial. But the research is crystal clear. The most common response to loss isn't suffering, it's resilience. And that right there is a total game changer in how we think about grief. Just look at this chart. It's so powerful. It shows that the vast majority of us are resilient. Yes, we hurt, we grieve, but we find a way to keep going. And this isn't about being strong or tough or bottling things up. It's about our innate human capacity to heal.
So, what does all this actually mean for us, in our daily lives? How can we take this knowledge and use it to better support ourselves and the people we love? Let's get practical.
Honestly, the two most powerful things you can offer someone are validation and permission. First, validate their feelings, whatever they are, and then give them permission to feel a whole range of emotions, and that includes joy. Laughter isn't some betrayal of grief, it's a sign of life, a sign of healing. Here's a quick but super crucial tip. Resist that urge you have to fix their pain. Avoid saying you should, and please avoid the platitudes. Instead of offering advice, just offer your presence. Instead of trying to find easy answers, just offer a listening ear. So let's circle back to this idea of resilience for a second. Remember, it is not about being some kind of emotional superhero. It's about being human. It's about our incredible built-in ability to bend without breaking, to find a way to keep going even when our hearts are heavy.
And the best part is that resilience isn't some fixed trait you either have or you don't. It's a skill you can actually build. It's about learning to hold both the sorrow and the joy, the pain and the beauty, all at the same time. It's about finding meaning right in the middle of the mess.
So let's end with this challenge. What if we just threw out the rulebook on grief? What if, instead of judging, we just listened? Instead of rushing in with advice, we just offered our presence? What if we met each other's pain with genuine compassion and just trusted in our shared human resilience? Now that sounds like a world I want to live in.